12th, 2025. Rob Brown in Memphis in the Metroplex.
No, that's Dallas.
I know. I had to say it because Ken Capps.
It's not a Metroplex.
Memphis is the Mid-South, the largest small town in America. Look, got a great show in store for you today. We are going to be joined by a great lineup. After you do this, take your phone, pictures of the QR code, take a picture of them, lock them in, subscribe, share us, and like us. We're live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Simultaneously, 8 channels live. And then consume your podcast throughout the day at your leisure, however you like to do it. We are on every platform imaginable. YouTube is the host channel. But of course, Oakley, the intern, finishes finals today. And then he will take on Project Instagram. These reels are big. One of the reels that Frank, when he broke the story on Kiffin to LSU before the rest of the free world knew it, I think at 472,000 views on Facebook, which is ginormous. And a lot of you watch on Facebook, but wherever you watch, thanks for watching. Roman Harper, SEC Network, joins us this morning. He was a busy man last night on the reveal show of the new 9-game schedule with Dari Noka, Gene Chizik, that and Cole Kubelik. That was a really good episode. Nowhere to hide in this league. Also, Frank Duffy and Doug B. Dean, and of course, Brad Bellamy from Landers Ford will check in with us later. And think about Rumble Boxing during the show, Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, and hempforpros.com. You want to be a sponsor on the show, get in front of a lot of people, get hold of us. You see us right here. We'll work with you. We'll drive business your way. We'll work with you on a team effort. Let's get started. Brendan, I watched it last night. Doug did on the Color TV. Roman, I hope you're still not on the show because they were going long. But it was pretty cool to hear Gene Chizik's take on what's happening, how everyone just asked about your record. No one's really talking about the coaches anymore. Everything's about the players and NIL. There's some really good coaches in the league. And I think these 3 guys that came from the American, Golish, Summerall, and Silverfield, are going to be Roman, super dad that he is, just dropped off his son. He's going to be on with us in about 5 minutes. But guys, first off, thank you more than you know for sharing your time with us. Brendan, ditto for you. Man, John Holmes, I mean, that is a look. That thing is a look. I mean, you know what?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good. It's going to make Christmas cards real good this year.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Frank, you watched that reveal last night. And then I want, after you say that, Doug's got something to say about something he called out when it happened. And he saw it. He was clairvoyant. But Frank, your thoughts on that schedule reveal last night?
Woo! Well, of course, I looked at our schedule first, and I don't know who we pissed off. Of course, the answer is we pissed off everybody. You know, everybody's mad at LSU.
Everybody.
But man, our stretch of the last 5 games we play at Auburn, where I hope to see my buddy Doug on beautiful Lake Martin that weekend. Then we come back to play Bama and Texas back-to-back in Tiger Stadium. Holy mackerel. Is that going to be an 8-day extravaganza sitting there in Bengal 1 right near campus? And then we go on the road, and it's very tough to play 2 back-to-back road games in the SEC. It's brutal. We go to play Tennessee at General Neyland Stadium, and then we head on over to Arkansas. So let me tell you.
Yeah, you're talking to me, dude.
It's brutal.
I mean, look at my schedule the
last
2 years.
Yeah.
But Duff, good to see you guys, Brendan.
Good to see you,
man,
buddy.
He's sporting a stash. Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back, dog.
Rock
Well, it's
and
back.
roll.
Well, I guess it's hip now. I just didn't realize that now all the kids
All the young guys
it.
are doing
Yeah,
it. All the young kids are 20-year-olds. I mean, that's all you see.
I keep thinking it's like a joke or a bet people are making. I'm going, that's horrible. You got a worm under your nose. And they're like, and they're
Rob,
going, my
have you
girlfriend
looked at
loves
your
it.
hair?
I'm like,
Rob, have you looked at your haircut?
I know.
Okay,
But
we can talk about that.
But I'm just saying, it's coming
schedule.
back.
Blade.
But I will tell you, boys, the one that's, of course, everybody's circling is us going to Ole Miss on that 3rd week. It's our very first SEC game. Nothing like throwing us into the deep end right off the bat. And where I thought I was going to take Bengal 1 on that road trip and have our big road trip tailgate, actually, I'm going to take it to Kentucky because Keeneland will be running. The horses will be running up in Keeneland. So that's where I'm going to take my RV. And I told my buddies I can't do it to Auburn because that's when we're out on the lake the day before. So I can't do it that weekend. So
Hey,
it's
Brendan,
exciting.
I'm gonna comment on Auburn. I'm still studying the full SEC slate. But as for Duff, cry me a river. You told us you've got the solitary Mensa in offensive football as your head coach now. So we're supposed to feel sorry for you. No. Not up in here. But Brendan's stash, it reminds me of that. You remember when Saban had COVID and he had to sit out a game? Was it 2020? I guess maybe 21. And there was a meme going around that had this Saban with a mustache on, looked like a Hispanic guy, and it said, "Graduate assistant Mick Sampson will be moved to an on-the-field position for this game." That's what Brendan reminds me of. So, hey, Duff, cry me a river. Auburn, our genius AD, I do love Cohen, but he, to me, unforced error selling our opening Baylor game to Atlanta, great city of Atlanta. But he's probably smarter than me about how money flows through books, so I'll play ball with him. Then the one that's intriguing, especially for Brendan and I, is John Sumrall brings his Florida Gators to Jordan Hare on September 9th. You got no rest for the weary, man. Third game out of the chute. And then Auburn, if you wonder, Rob, about the doctrine, the irrefutable doctrine of Java, just Auburn being Auburn, we get Vanderbilt our fourth game, and that's when Vanderbilt's playing 10-win football lately. Yeah. So 5 years ago, you'd say, hey, give me Vanderbilt as a permanent. We're winning. I don't know. It's a different world now, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, it sure is, buddy.
When they flipped Jared Curtis, the 5-star quarterback from Nashville Christian, Cordelli called that one 3 weeks ago. But, Doug, talk about something. It's a big story right now, and you were on that.
Well, I'm not trying to have roses handed out over what at the time was just a throwaway gut instinct. But when I watched Sherrone Moore, Coach Moore, as interim coach, and he had that huge win for Michigan over Ohio State, and post game, there was an uneasiness I had that I told myself that's being unfair. And I don't have, for the record, I have zero Michigan hate. I enjoy watching Michigan play in that physical, tough brand of football. Same with Ohio State. When their coaches get too arrogant, sometimes I'll have temporary dislike for them. But I was just watching, and you guys know what I do for a living. I'm supposed to have a degree of skill at assessing human beings, especially when they're going into leadership roles. And I had an uneasiness about his hyper emotionality post game. It's kind of admirable, if not forgivable. None of us mind, emotion and tearing up after something really big, and that was a big moment for Moore. But he was saying, Coach Harbaugh, I love the shit out of you, and the emotion was just more over the top than I thought. But more importantly, my comment that I didn't think he would work out, if that's what you're referring to, Rob, was just a gut instinct that had more to do with wins and losses. I just haven't seen it work very well when a school gets in a difficult moment. They've got an interim coach. There was sympathy for Cadillac Williams, for God's sake, being considered as head coach, all because he ran up and down the sidelines, and wasn't long after that he was shown the door. And we hate it. We all love Cadillac, but I was uneasy that a program as big a brand as Michigan necessarily needed to gamble to that extent on an interim coach, as opposed to going out with the resources they have and swinging big for the fences. And it seems like they were a victim of, it's got to be from the Harbaugh coaching tree. And so here we are. But, and then his judgment, I don't want to pile on. The guy needs our prayers. His family needs, and will get my prayers, and I hope everyone's. His judgment led him not to just own a mistake that affects families and was certainly going to affect his firing, but he took it to a really regrettable level that he has a world of problems. Now, he's a broken man now. And, sometimes we make light of marital infidelity when it's coaches. I think we should be careful how we do that, because if you're not careful, the messaging you're sending the vulnerable people, especially younger people, is that certain things are okay once you acquire enough power or money. That's all I
Well
see
said,
with-
Doug. Well said.
Yeah, and I was talking with several people yesterday, some coaches and stuff that are pretty familiar with Michigan, and they said, watch Michigan make a run on Marcus Freeman, and say, hey, Marcus, you're an Ohio State guy. I know this is Michigan, okay? What's your price? And by the way, if you'd been in a conference, you wouldn't be sitting at home watching the CFP. You'd be in the playoffs. And the NFL, I know Pete Cordelli said he's gonna definitely talk to them. And this coaching madness isn't slowing down, is it, guys?
Well, yeah, I was talking to Rob about it yesterday, and when I said, Doug, some of the same things. I don't know how I didn't go as far as what you were saying, but when Sherrone became the head coach, I just felt like it was like I don't know, not a lame duck, but just some, kind of a filler, because they didn't know what the fallout was going to be after everything that was going to go down. Get an interim guy in there, see how it happens. I just felt like he was set up to fail. And I don't think they knew what the future was going to be there.
We saw it with Mike DeBoer at Alabama. The fax machine was burned up, and the AD got kind of held at gunpoint. And DeBoer had a moment or two, but that was not the long-term solution. A proud program like Alabama, and I'll just get it on the table. My Bama friends will say, "Methinks you protest too much." I'm not. Tis the season. I'm gonna be generous. Alabama needs to be very careful and show the love to Kalen DeBoer. I think he's a hell of a football coach. There's not any Nick Sabans waiting to be picked up at Walmart on aisle 14.
This is what's crazy, guys. People think with a coach, like, okay, we'll pay for a coach that'll win us 3 national titles in the next 11 years. It just doesn't happen. So let's get Roman Harper in here. And Roman, I know you.
The man, the legend.
Yeah, Roman.
The legend.
Roman, first off, thank you. I know you said you weren't feeling well and you just took your son to school, but you are always so kind with your time, on the move, literally and figuratively. And we love having you on here. Watched you last night on that reveal show about the SEC schedule as he sits down in the chair. Here we go. Roman, that was pretty cool last night. Was that live last night?
Well, we recorded it yesterday, so we
Okay.
just recorded a little bit earlier, and then we released it. It's the power of the TV. You know what I mean? So often I see myself and I'm kind of dressed in the same thing, or it says live on there, and it's not exactly live, but it's something like that.
All right. First off, I would give anything to have those days back when my kids were that young, taking them to school. God, those were fun times. And going through Chick-fil-A every single
Oh my
morning.
God. I'm so over Chick-fil-A.
Me too. I feel that.
Yeah. I'm not happy about Chick-fil-A either, because I got chicken noodle soup the other day to try and help myself feel better. Made it all the way home, and then the bag busted, and it just went everywhere in my driveway the other day. I was so sick. I was just
Well, I hope you get to feeling better.
You got that Rolovirus, the rotavirus, or whatever it is?
I don't know what it is. I just hadn't been feeling well since like Tuesday. So it's all good though. I'm fine.
Rub some dirt on it, my man.
Exactly.
And thank you for sharing your time with us. We want to get your thoughts. We were talking about the SEC schedule, and Frank was lamenting LSU's schedule, and Doug borrowed from Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob SquarePants with the world's smallest violin.
Cry me a river, LSU.
What do you think, Roman?
Honestly, Cole thinks LSU's schedule is one of the hard. Look, I thought when I walked away, I didn't feel like anybody's schedule was easy.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, some team schedules were a little bit harder, but you really base upon how the difficulty of the schedule based upon the team you think they are going to be. Yeah. So it's like, we don't ever look at Georgia like, man, I don't know how they're going to get through that schedule, because they're Georgia. And so you just expect them to find ways to win. The same thing can be said about LSU. I don't know what this LSU team is going to look like at all. I thought it was a really big win for them to maintain or retain Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator, who I think is really good. Because ultimately, Lane Kiffin made the the change in success when he locked down Pete Golding and Pete Golding came over from Alabama to Ole Miss, because Ole Miss was having to win games 50 something to 60 when Lane first got to Ole Miss, and then all of a sudden they started to lock down some defense, and then they started winning 9, 10 games. And so I think Lane understands that. He understands how important it is to recruit certain body types and things of that nature, that you can't just talk about offense and just do that side of the football. You got to go both sides of it. Ultimately, I need a good defense if I'm going to win championships.
Yeah.
Roman, to your point, I used to say this about your alma mater, and I meant it complimentary. Try to do that sparingly about those cats. Sometimes, Roman, you got to tell the truth and shame the devil. But the outrage on this scheduling is that Georgia does not have to play Georgia.
Yeah.
They and that's what squishes everybody's perceptions, like you were saying. I would look at in this schedule. I'll give you this assumption, and people can agree or disagree. As always, there is a much thinner margin of error for every single team because of the 9-game schedule. It was already tough with the 8-game schedule. So if you're studying heading into this, next summer and making these picks, all of which will be wrong, in some form or another. Everybody thought, okay, Pavia is going to have a second-year slump at Vanderbilt. He's going to be in New York as a finalist for the Heisman. I hope he wins it. I doubt he will. I think the Indiana quarterback will edge him out. Now, all of a sudden, as Auburn's permanent opponent, Vanderbilt is not Vanderbilt as we know them. And so look at which teams go on the road, especially early season. This 2025, that was a tough challenge for Freeze early season, but you got to go win games. And if you look at the games that look like toss-ups, and none of them will exactly end up that way, who gets the benefit of that important home advantage? That might give you a little higher probability of being right when the dust settles. Your thoughts, Roman?
The thing is like, we think we know these teams. I don't know. I have no clue what Vanderbilt's going to look like next year without Diego Pavia, right? And not just Diego Pavia, but Cedric Alexander, the running back, some other really key cogs that they brought in this year that excuse me, that helped them be better offensively and more explosive offensively. So it'll be interesting to see. We think we know, or we try and project, but it's really hard because rosters can be turned over so quickly. It's not unfortunate. I mean, it's just what you have to deal with. Auburn, your three like automatic games are Georgia, Alabama, and Vanderbilt. Like that's not easy. Alabama has Tennessee, Auburn, and Mississippi State. So like everybody has these teams that you have to kind of deal with. And we think we know, but we said everything last year at this time. Well, man, how's anybody going to be able to stop Lenore Sellers, Arch Manning, who really struggled at the beginning of this year, DJ Lagway, who's at the bottom of the league this year, like no bowl game. So it's like what we think what is going to be like the top tiers or this, that, and other usually never ends up the way it is. So that's why you got to play the seasons out. Nobody thought that this would be Vanderbilt's best team ever, right? We thought last year was an anomaly, and that there's no way they'll be able to repeat the success that they had last year. And all of a sudden, this became the best team that they've ever had on that campus. So it's been really fun to watch, and really fun for a lot of people like myself that gets to sit in this seat and just be along for the ride, because we just truly do not know. And the moment we start to get ahead of ourselves is or like Oklahoma's a great example.
Just
You know what I mean? Like Oklahoma was left dead and gone in October. Like they were like, dude, I just hope Brett Venables can hold this thing together.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they beat Tennessee. They went on the road again and beat Alabama. That was, Dari Noka talks about that. He said that's probably our 2 back-to-back biggest road wins that I can remember since like 80s, like way back. So like you just don't know, and that's why it's called a season. and not just a game or just these other things. So it's always so fun because people like me get to sit up here, and because I'm not playing, I don't get all emotional about it.
Yeah.
I just tell you what I see, and it's always going to be a fun ride that nobody really knows where the next turn will take you.
Isn't that also, Roman, why they should probably discontinue that Tuesday show with the rankings? It's premature. It's heartbreaking to Notre Dame to get led along like that. I'm not saying Notre Dame deserved to be in over whomever, but I know you got to protect your TV.
Roman goes, I like those
employer,
checks
but
that I get. Hang on a second.
Hold on a second.
There-
I retract my
Yeah, no
question.
comment.
it's like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if my check has anything to do with that. I like my check. It's fine.
Roman,
Take
Yeah,
the fifth. Plead the fifth.
hey,
yeah.
Roman,
Like
Roman, I want to give you credit at the Touchdown Club in Memphis after the meeting when you were here last summer. That you got to come back. But you were there talking to Ray Brakebill and John Stemler, two big Vanderbilt fans in the Touchdown Club, and they were up there talking to you, and they said, "We want to thank you for talking about Vanderbilt." They said because you were ahead of the curve on the
Yeah.
doors. You really were. So let's give out a shout out to the Prattville Lions down there. And look, you grew up with three older brothers. You're tough. As Coach Dye used to say, when you grow up with two older brothers like I did, you don't win at anything, but you
no, not at
learn
all.
to fight.
It's true. The thing is like I saw Vanderbilt just starting to make plays and do things correctly, like 2 years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. And I would come to my producers and be like, man, I really think Vanderbilt's like starting to turn the corner. Like they're doing some good things. Like because I watch football, and when I break down tape, it's like, okay, if I can understand what you're trying to get accomplished, like I can see a vision or a goal of what you're trying to achieve. And so when I was looking at Vanderbilt, I'm like, okay, I see what defense they're trying to run. I understand what they're trying to get accomplished. And I was like, man, they're just getting better. I know they're not winning games yet. I said, but man, if I could just like maybe show a little highlight, maybe show a couple things that they're doing well, then they every week they'd be like, we'll see if we can get it in, Roman. We're going to see if we can get it in. I'm like, all right, and it would never get in, right? We'd never have time for it, or if we thought about doing it, it'd be the first thing cut. Like if we start getting behind in the show, all right, Vanderbilt tapes out. I'm like, okay, so and then they just started winning, and it was really really fun because for me, I start calling it my passion project. And I was like, man, this is like a passion project for me. And I would start getting all passionately talking about him, this, that, and the other. And then my coworkers and everybody on the crew started laughing at me because they were like, Roman, you get more fired up about Vanderbilt than you do Alabama. I'm like, I don't, because it's like, the underdog, it's about little Timmy coming out there. I get excited when little Timmy goes out there and makes some plays.
Yeah.
And so that's how it kind of started. And it's just been so funny because I get more fired up for Vanderbilt than Jordan Rodgers gets fired up. Like everybody correlates me with Vanderbilt more than they do Jordan, even though Jordan graduated from there.
Yeah.
And so it's been really fun just to be a part of that ride. And even Clark Lee making fun of me when we finally got to go there a couple weeks ago. Because he's understood, like I've kind of rolled with these guys, and if anybody watches our shows, they know, like Vanderbilt's like Roman's passion project. Like he goes to bat for them. I picked Vanderbilt versus Texas. I picked them versus like everybody but Alabama. I picked Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go down swinging with the ship, but it has this WWE effect where it's like, sometimes it's good to be the heel, and it's boring if I just pick against them because that's what everybody else is doing. But man, I look like a damn hero when I pick them and we win. It's like, dude, nobody saw that coming but you, Roman, and then everybody's got my back. And so I think I've noticed that since I've been on the show is like, picking the underdog, being a man of the people, like I try and pride myself on being, and just kind of just being myself. I really get into making these picks and sometimes making them personal because I really, really enjoy the people that I get to meet and hang around. And then sometimes that makes me pick a team, and I'm right sometimes about it, and a lot of times I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, you're the truth. You're
I
the
bet
truth
you could
broker.
show up in I bet you could show up in Nashville and be warmly welcomed after this
Yeah.
year.
Frank, jump in here with the,
Yeah,
with the truth broker.
even Nick had the Vanderbilt garb on. I mean, everybody's playing up with this.
And aren't we all the cheated? I'm not saying the committee was wrong on Vanderbilt, but I would really love to see what Vanderbilt could do in this playoff. I don't think they'd necessarily get past the semis, if that. But man, there's not many teams that would relish going against this unique and dangerous Vanderbilt team.
It's so hard. But I'll be honest with you. Like, it's hard to let all these teams in because of the rules that they signed up for, right? The top 5 conference champions automatically get in. The ACC kind of dropped the ball on that. So now we got lower, James Madison getting in because the ACC totally cannibalized themselves in a certain way. And I don't even know how they don't get the best teams into the conference championship game. It's just weird. But that happened, and then congrats to Duke for knocking off Virginia and making it a little bit weird. But Vanderbilt lost to Alabama and Texas. And so because the committee, like they said, they want to put an emphasis on conference championships still mattering, that they only dropped Ohio State 1 spot when Indiana upset them. They didn't move Georgia up to 2, right? So when I saw that, I was like, man, I don't understand that. And then it made all the sense in the world when they didn't drop Alabama as well. And so I'm like, okay. And then they just fell on the knife of conference championships and then head to head. And they'll die on those swords. And I actually thought, and this is like me taking all the Alabama emotion out of it, because I wouldn't speak on Alabama whether they deserve to get into the playoffs or not right after the SEC championship game, because I know I got a lot of Bama in me naturally, and I didn't want to be emotional, right? Because that's what happens. So many fans get very emotional, and people, about this game of football, and then all of a sudden they don't deserve this, they don't blah blah blah, and then we tend to forget the whole resume and that the whole 12-week season or 13-week season that they're being judged upon. So I thought the committee was consistent. I'm not going to say what was right or wrong. Honestly, the only bad thing, the wrong part, in my opinion, was that they should have had Miami over Notre Dame the whole time.
Yes.
Like, so, because I've talked to Notre Dame fans. If Miami was, because they're not mad at Miami being above them. They're rational. They understand why that happened. But the fact that you had Miami behind Notre Dame the whole time and then moved them the last week, I think that's what made people kind of go up in arms. And then, of course, now you're going to want people to drop Alabama and everybody else. So, but it's hard to really drop Alabama. Alabama was the number 1 ranked SEC team in the best conference in the regular season. So it's just really hard to all of a sudden let all these other teams in. And then this team, because they played in the conference championship game, gets punished a certain amount. You would have seen the end of conference championship games. Like it would have been, because then at that point, if I'm Alabama and I'm in any type of similar situation, I'm like, I'm not playing that game. And they were like, well, you have to. I'm like, well, make me.
Sure.
And then next, it's all over. So I think everybody understood that. Everybody understood the assignment, and that's where it kind of turned the way it was. But back to Vanderbilt, just as a whole, I think Vanderbilt would easily make a run at some things. It'd be interesting to see, just because their style of play and who they are under Clark Lee, it's been amazing to watch them grow. And I told Clark Lee, man, I became such a bigger fan of him after the Netflix special Any Given Saturday, because I just didn't know he had that in him. I thought he was just a really good talker, smart guy, intelligent. But then I got behind closed doors and I saw the way he talks to the men. I saw the way he gets guys fired up, the way that you have to use your surroundings, and that football is a game of emotions. Like, it comes down to emotions and execution. You got to be locked in, ready to go whenever you win, especially if you want to win championships or play against really good, tough teams. That's what it's all about. And so when I got to see an inside look of what he had been doing it really made me a much, much bigger fan of Clark.
He's a hell of a coach. In fact, before we got into the Kiffin sweepstakes, that's who I thought LSU was going to make a run at, was Clark Lee. He's
Yeah.
just a great coach. And by the way, your point on that, Roman, about Miami and Notre Dame, that speaks to Doug's point of why those Tuesday shows can be detrimental, because you have them, behind Notre Dame all the way up on something that's just window dressing. By the way, it's no different than our company when we do our valuations every year for our ESOP, our employee-owned company. It doesn't matter what the valuation was last year. It's a matter of what it is this year.
Yeah.
Back in time means nothing. And I think that would really help if we maybe just talk about it, but not do those rankings, because I think it's detrimental. And that's why Notre Dame had the red ass, and why they took the ball and went home, which I don't like. But, like you said, what are you going to do? Force them to do it? They can't.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in the way Notre Dame has behaved since then. Like, just to be able to take that opportunity away from so many guys that, like, Notre Dame's not going to have a whole 20-something guys going to the league. Oh, no. And you just don't know, like, so many guys crying after those games. And I don't think you understand how good it feels, because I didn't get that every year. I only got that so many years of my career in college, where you get to end the season with a win.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how good that feels. Yeah. Like that's only half of college football gets to experience that.
Roman.
Then I think I love Marcus Freeman. He would be on my short list almost anywhere I were an AD. But I think
I heard the Giants are trying to get him.
And Michigan.
I think you got to put this a little bit on Marcus. I believe if Marcus vehemently sold his AD, and the players are going to follow Marcus's lead, I would suspect that Notre Dame could have played in it. So Marcus must have gotten swept up in the hurt and the bitterness, and said, maybe it is time for a middle finger to Disney for how this went.
And it could have been an ass whipping that Florida State got a couple years ago too. He didn't want that out there either.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Like, everybody wants to point blame at somebody, right? And so I don't know if Disney had anything to do with any of this. It's the same thing, but it's like an easy target. It's like, yeah, man, bump Disney, right? The same thing when you're talking about the playoff selection thing. Like, why are we doing it this week after week after week? Because they like to stretch out everything. I just did a 2-hour schedule release show for next year in the middle of this year's season. I'm like, dude, we're just stretching it. And because people, they understand, if I put it on TV, somebody's tuning in. They're not crazy.
Content.
Yeah.
Hey, look, some idiots is watching us 4 idiots.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
No, and I will say,
you're being kind, Roman.
Fair,
you're being kind.
Hey, Rob, it's still too soon. Roman has got enough love in him and fairness. He'll appreciate this. It's still too soon for me to talk about the 2004 Auburn undefeated SEC football team.
Yeah.
But I'll take this mess we've got right now over that picking 2 teams like we had to in the original BCS days, even though there's a movement to bring the computers back, Duff. Bring the computers. Just tell me who's programming them, and then I can tell you if I like it or not.
Well, it's also like with the computers, it's so many different data points that you can kind of put in, and the way that, they've used AI to almost help generate the scheduling for the SEC. Like, they use some AI in there to say, okay, well, what do we not want, right? We don't want teams coming off of a bye, and then I don't, right?
Yeah.
And, like, can we only do that so many times? So we try and limit that. I don't want to have, like, 3 back-to-back SEC road games, right? So it's like all these things that can actually help us. And it's not going to be perfect, but we still can try and maybe put some data points in now that says, okay, well, a win versus a team like this is worth this many points, or this, that, and the other. I mean, it's always somewhere to do it, and it's always trying to be a little bit more creative. It just stinks because, honestly, I just don't know if the committee's gotten it that wrong yet.
But let us have transparency, Roman. Let us have transparency.
And
show us
the goalpost moves. Like, the goalpost continues.
The eye test.
Yeah. well, this week Alabama's run game's not good enough. And I'm like, dude, I don't think that's a criteria. You know? Like, you can't sit up here if Army's undefeated and talk about, well, Army just doesn't throw the ball well. Like, dude, they're a triple option team. So it's like that's not supposed to be a criteria. And so to me, I don't like those things when that stuff starts to come in. And honestly, what really messes it up is when the committee chairs get up there and talk and they just don't say the right thing all the time. And then we hold their words and then we hold the words to the fire. Right. And so I think those are the things, and we can kind of pick and poke those things apart. And, but overall, I don't think they were that far off this year. I thought they got it pretty dialed in.
We're usually, I mean, almost none of us, unless it's your school, feel aggrieved when March Madness comes out and you missed making that 64th pick. Who cares? And it does, to your point, Roman. It does seem like there's lately, when there is outcry, it's just one team. You don't see two and three teams making a very good case that they were wrong. A year ago, there was an interesting question of South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss. 3 loss in the gauntlet of the SEC. Didn't one or more of those deserve? They probably did deserve in, but the problem is you get SMU, get some of these G5 teams that you just got to give a spot to by the rules. And when we go to 16 teams, personally, I think there should be a conference or a playoff for the G5 teams, separate them out, because to me, where's the glory in saying if you're at Tulane or JMU, we made the playoff and you get smoked the first game you're in, and maybe they won't get smoked, but the odds are Vegas would see it differently. I'll just say that.
Well, I think it is a whole bunch of pride in taking in it, because what you can do is you can recruit off of that. Like, to me, that's what nobody sees, is that, like, I recruit off of that. Like, Tulane, we're a playoff team. It's a lot of teams that Texas, like, it's a lot of teams. Florida can't say that. It's a lot of teams that can't say that. LSU can't say that.
And so you're saying Tulane, if you will, trying to become the next Indiana. Look at us. We actually play big boy football.
Yeah. And the same thing with Cincinnati.
Yep.
When they made their playoffs. Like you can recruit off of that. You got that patch on you that goes on the wall. We have an opportunity to go to the playoffs if we just handle our business and win. Like, it's not something that's unfathomable. It's not something that's not obtainable. So to me, that is the biggest thing about it, is that you're able to recruit off of it. You're able to get more money into your program off of it. So I actually don't think you need to separate them. I think allowing these guys to actually participate, and you never know. It's not going to happen when you expect it.
Yeah.
But one of these teams, the same way Florida Gulf Coast knocked somebody off in basketball, is going to happen. And I don't know when, but one of them, it will happen. And it's probably going to take a special quarterback or a special talented, group of guys to get it together and do it. But like, that's how these things all start. And then once that domino falls in, you always get a little bit more.
Well, Roman, yesterday we had a great discussion with my friend Gabe Kuhn, who played at Memphis, started 51 consecutive games on the offensive line. And the record was broken by Drew Kaiser from Opelika, Alabama, who made 52. And he does a great sports show, 92.9 ESPN Memphis. We talked about from Group of Five perspective and Power Four. He agreed with you, and I agree with him. The more you do it, it is a fundraising tool. Like Memphis has at least six that I know of, families with net worth in excess of multiple billions. And the Smith family, Ryan Silverfield, now the coach at Arkansas, tapped in with Richard Smith, the son of Fred, who passed away in July, FedEx, the AutoZone people. They're getting interested. And Dr. Hardgrave came from Auburn. He understands about that marriage between, athletics and academics. I'm with you. Even though, Doug, they may get smoked, they may or may not, but the more they go and the more they do it, it's proof of concept. And to me, I say throw them out there 1 through 12, 1 through 16, let them fight it out. The spice of life. Competition's the spice of life, Roman. I love it.
Okay, fair. I guess I'm not backing down, as John Summerall liked to say at his opening presser. I won't back down. You hear me? I won't back down. He won't back down. It was like the Baghdad Bob. It was a hostage reading.
uh,
See, I got to quit loving Summerall now. I loved him a month ago when he was coming to
2
Auburn.
weeks ago.
yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Hey, man, dude, I will be honest, man. Auburn, totally Auburn. That whole
Yeah.
thing. I
Didn't
thought
we?
John
But it might have worked out.
well, exactly right. Like Auburn somehow or another Auburn their way straight through the goal line and got a great coach in Alex
Yeah.
Golesh. And actually, my cousin just now got on the staff as well, so
Who's
I'm
that?
excited for him as
Who's your
well.
guy?
His name's Harding Harper.
Fantastic.
He's on the recruiting or something like that.
Sweet.
So yeah, man. So he's my younger cousin. He's an awesome guy. He's super sharp.
Wait. This is Roman Harper has infiltrated the Auburn coaching staff now. I don't like that.
Hey, look, man. I have no hatred towards
I know you
Auburn. I
don't.
like
I know.
Auburn.
By the way,
It's
I
like-
owe you something from the Iron Bowl. Roman and I made a bet, a steamer pack of crystals. And Roman, next time I see you, I'm buying you a steamer pack. I don't think they would FedEx well overnight.
They probably would not. Thank you. But no, man, I'm really like Alex Golesh to be able to get him, then keep DJ Durkin, even though like they wanted John Summerall. John Summerall wanted the Auburn job, and then I don't know how they messed it up, but hey, it's all good. Auburn always just seems to kind of like work its way out some kind of way, and you got to keep the coach that you wanted anyways, which was Durkin, and then you bring in a guy like Alex Golesh, which I know he's going to be able to put up points and score in bunches because that's the type of offense that he runs. So should be really exciting. And hopefully you guys are able to keep some of these guys out of the portal as well and try and hold on to as many talented guys as you can, because ultimately I did a recruiting show, signing day show back in Alabama and in Tuscaloosa. And I was talking to Courtney Morgan and just the mindset of where you are in today's football. And it's like, he's like, honestly, when we have a guy not sign or flip last minute, back in the day, you used to be sad or like, man, what are we going to do? He's like, nowadays, you like, okay, that's fine. That's actually more money we can put on retention of our own players. So like, and how they put it in a bucket system. So much money. It's the same way you do financially, right? Where it's like buckets, where so much into recruiting new players here, as much, maybe less in the transfer portal, and then way more in like retention. And so mostly focusing on the guys that you already have on your roster, maintaining those relationships and continue to build off of that. And ultimately, that's what Auburn has to continue to build upon. And very talented team, but just could not find ways to win games. And ultimately, that's the difference between good and bad teams. Bad teams find ways to lose games, and good teams find ways to win them.
And it's a mentality. It's a mental thing to me, often more than pure talent and physical. I saw a graphic, guys, of the top, and I think it's probably close to accurate. It's elusive trying to get actual NIL contract dollars per player, but it gets out. The top 25 NIL spends. It showed each of those players. Arch Manning was atop the list at over 6 million, if you believe that, and as you scan the folks on that list, it was maybe 1/3 of them really lived up to billing. Two-thirds of them were, I don't want to call them a bust. A few were bust. Auburn had Jackson Arnold,
Yep.
Xavier Chaplin, the left tackle, who was, I'd call him close to a bust, and of course Cam Coleman, no complaints there. But $6 million worth of NIL tilted to those. When you spend 7 figures, it needs to work out at high percentages, and it's not.
Well, the other thing that list showed me was that nobody in the top 10 made the playoffs.
Wow.
So it's like, I keep telling everybody, Texas Tech is the case study for everybody. The way that they have spent their money, smart, wisely, like they're the ones that are making the biggest impact on dollar for dollar spending. It's really changed their whole program. And everybody wants to say, "Oh, well, it's just Texas. They got money, blah blah blah." I'm like, yeah, but everybody else ain't spending it the same. and the impact of where you spend your dollars matters. And so if everybody's going to spend it, how are we being smartest about impactful? Like how much impact are we having for dollar for dollar? When they spend $1 million to go get a softball girl, well, they went to the finals. It worked.
Yeah.
And so it makes it worth it when you do those things the correct way. And Texas Tech to me has been the perfect case study. And everybody should go look at what they're doing because, man, Lubbock has really turned it around. And not only that, but man, they're in the playoffs. They're a top 4 team. And they're playing really, really well. And they're a really good team as well. So I like their chances in this tournament.
Financial efficiency. What's the old saying? Ain't what you make, it's what you keep. And that really
Yeah, there
is
we
what's
go.
on the rosters. So I do want to ask you this, Roman, and I can attest that Tulane is getting a lot of mileage out of being in the college football playoffs because all my
Yeah.
buddies in New Orleans keep reminding me they're the first team from Louisiana in the college football playoffs.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm telling you. Yeah,
I'm having to deal with
I
that.
said that. Remember, I said
Yeah,
LSU can't
that's right.
say that. Like these things matter. I'm
Now-
telling you. I
Now,
hear.
I do want to speak to your point that a good quarterback might have a Cinderella moment. And I am telling you, I sat and watched Tulane play 3 games live in Ullman this year. And that kid, Retzlaff, freaking can spin it. And when I was going through the pains of watching Nussmeier with his injury and we didn't know what was going on, he's floating them short. That kid hit everybody in stride. I'm not saying they're going to go to Ole Miss and beat them, but with all the things that are swirling around Ole Miss and a quarterback who can not only has good ball control, but can actually move it down the field, do you see any shot that Tulane can give them a scare in Oxford?
Well, I think the biggest thing that they have to do is number one, you're going to have to force a couple turnovers. Like you got to steal a couple possessions. And ultimately, when I watched them both on tape, because this is the same team that played earlier in the season, and Ole Miss kind of beat them bad. The biggest deal was that you got to stop Keywan Lacey. If you want to be able to slow down Ole Miss, everybody always talks about, the throwing Trinidad Chambliss because we love talking quarterbacks. Keywan Lacey, the running back, is the real difference maker for Ole Miss. Like he is a great running back, shifty, scores touchdowns all the time. I think he definitely led the conference in touchdowns. I don't know, he may have been tied for the country for touchdowns. So, and to me, that's where I thought Tulane just did not match up well in the original matchup when I watched them. I thought the first time they matched up, I thought Jake Retzlaff, they were asking him to be too much. He was the leading rusher and the leading thrower. And so I think they need to take a little bit off his plate. So then, I don't think people understand because it's not like a video game where, if I run my quarterback and he gets hit, like he can still throw it accurately. Like in real life, like your accuracy starts to go down when you start to get hit. And so like that doesn't remain the same. And so they need to be able to take a little bit off his plate there, and you need to get bigger and better. So maybe put more guys in the box to try and slow down the run, and then make Ole Miss beat you throwing the football, and challenge them because Trinidad Chambliss has missed guys down throwing the football downfield. He's gone a couple weeks this year, especially later in the season where he struggled. Versus like, oh my gosh, who's that one team they played? It was a West Coast team too.
This year?
It'll come back. Yes, it'll come back to me. Washington State.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played Washington State. Yeah. That was I thought that Ole Miss struggled completing passes versus Washington State.
Yeah.
We could make some money on this Ole Miss Tulane game. I could brand it the Lame Duck Bowl with the 2 coaching staffs.
Or two.
It's weird. It's weird.
Duck Commander calls. They'd write a check for 7.
I've seen a shirt. I've seen a shirt. Tulane versus no lane.
Yeah. Hey, Brad Bellamy, Roman, let me say hi to Brad Bellamy real quick and stay with us if you can for a few more minutes. LandersFordMemphis.com, folks. A lot of great stuff happening out there. Love our sponsors and also proud that you're the sponsor of the Memphis Touchdown Club. Got to get you back, Roman. You gave one of the best talks ever. That was one of the funnest nights ever, and you were spot on with John Stemler and Ray Breakbill, the Doors fans. But, Brad, how you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you guys this morning?
Talking some ball, man. Can't get.
I know.
Hey, Brad, how are you? How are you doing, boss?
I was in the queue,
Hey, Brad.
and I was like, Washington State. Washington State, and then you were there. So
Yeah.
I was like, boom. And then Rob brought me on. So I was like, I just had to have the secret password to get brought in as I was waiting in the green room. So, man, I'm great. We're things are awesome here. Having a great start to the month. December is one of the best car months every year. Tax season for a lot of folks trying to get their accountants to say, hey, go buy something else real fast before the year's over.
Yep.
So having a great start. And man, what's been awesome is we've got the best programs that we've had in a long time. 0 for 60 on F-150 Explorer, commercial vehicles like Transit, Lightning, Mach-E. We've done a lot of EVs already this month. And then Ford, on top of all that, added another $1,000 yesterday of rebate. So we got some unbelievable programs that are going on right now. And we've been, like yesterday, we did 4 expeditions. So, it's been a great time, a great start to the month. And December is always a fun time in the car business because we typically move a lot of metal and we clean up the coffers a little bit. So it's a lot of fun out here. And, don't have as many distractions this weekend with football. It's next weekend. So it's a great weekend to come out. It's going to get cold, next week. So if your heat's not been working, forget trying to get that fixed. Just come buy a new car. We'll be able to take care of you guys. So, but yeah, man. And back to the Tulane conversation, Rob, man, if they can put together a complete game, they got a chance. But the challenge they've had all year is they play one unbelievable half and then one half that they just aren't great. Like the Memphis game, they destroyed Memphis. Their offense was in point. Their defense was dominating Memphis the first half. Memphis had a chance to win that game at the end of it.
Yeah.
Duke, same thing, dominated the first half. Duke had a chance at the end of the game to win it. But that's the game, right? If Duke's probably 8-4, not 7-5, I bet Duke makes the playoff after that win against Tulane. And Tulane's probably, I don't know, maybe not in the playoff, and James Madison makes it. So, you talk about a huge game that no one's been talking about. That Tulane-Duke game really had a differentiator in the playoff. And, in the Texas Tech, I mean, they spent their money well. We talked at the very beginning of the season about Auburn and being a top 5 spin program. And I questioned Hugh Freeze's ability to actually be able to pull it all together. And then Texas Tech on the flip end did an unbelievable job of executing and putting together a team and seeing what money can actually buy.
Yeah. Roman, here it is. Harding Harper III, your cousin, executive director of recruiting at Auburn. You can't get any better than that. I mean, Roman, what Brad just said about Tulane, and Frank's right. Summerall just looks like a football coach. Do you remember playing against him when you were at Alabama 01 to 05?
The crazy thing is how small this world is, man. I just text John yesterday, the day before. So me and John were on the same Alabama-Mississippi All-Star team. So yeah, he's from Huntsville, Alabama. I'm from Prattville. So yeah, he's from Grissom. There it is. And so he was the safety and I was a safety. We had 3 safeties and only like 1 corner. So they were all bigger than me. So I actually played corner in the game. Him and a couple of the other guys played safety. So I've known John Summerall since we were like 17, 18. And since his high school all-star game. And of course, we followed each other and kept up with each other's careers while he was at Kentucky when we played against each other. And then when he started playing more and more, of course, I was rooting for him. And then as he's continued to move on, and he went to Troy. He was the head coach at Troy after leaving Kentucky. That's where my brother went to school at. So rooted for Troy big time. And he went to 2 conference title games. And then when he got to Tulane, of course, having all the connections in New Orleans, of course I had to talk to John and was so excited that he went to Tulane. And now I'm like, I tell him like, dude, I'm gonna see you all the time now. He's like, it's crazy how life just like takes you in this whirlwind of like just different ways. And honestly, man, like football is such a small fraternity, and the people that you get to meet, you just never know the paths that you'll cross and the people you'll get to meet. Like when my cousin Harding, he was on Alabama staff for a little bit when he was just kind of getting out of school because he was at Vanderbilt. Well, that's where he played ball at. And so to my DB coach, one of my DB coaches, you guys know him. He's at Auburn. He was at Auburn forever. Crime Dog. McGriff.
Yeah.
McGriff recruited my cousin Harding out of Montgomery, Alabama to Vanderbilt. I'm like, and he was shocked when I told him, I'm like, oh, that's because my cousin texted me and said like, "Oh, you know, crime." But I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, and he was shocked. I'm like, "Yes, my younger cousin." Blown away. And then all of a sudden, like just all these people that you end up knowing, it just throughout life, and all of it is just this one game called football that has just opened up so many doors for me, and has allowed me to get to meet so many great people and introduce and being part of my life.
Yeah.
Like that's how I get to know people like Rob, and all of a sudden I get to know other people. And when I get to go to Knoxville, I know all the tailgate spots because like even though I have no business being there, everybody's like, dude, Roman's like the coolest. I get to go everywhere.
Roman, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I was like,
I'll tell you something. Back in October of 22, when Audrey and I saw you riding on that scooter down to the bus for SEC Nation, and Audrey and I went over there, and Audrey goes, "My cousin Mark's got the biggest tailgate on the hill," and you were like, "I'm down with that." I'm telling y'all, when we walked with Roman through the crowd up to Mark's tailgate by that torch guy right in front of Nealon, 300 people, open bar, brisket, ribs, everything.
It's great. It's
250 to 300 people stopped and asked for an autograph, a picture. You were every single one of them. People notice that about you, and it makes a difference. Just like I said yesterday, One Stone Angel watches this show every day down in Florida. He said he's fighting cancer. I'm like, wow. He takes time to watch this show, the Buddy Martin show I was on last night. I think we make an impact. And Roman, you're the truth broker, and we're always blessed to have you. Like a guy said, Roman, sick, hardly can breathe, and he's fighting through this show. But you know what?
He's
the link?
Playing hurt.
Yeah,
he's playing hurt.
And I'm definitely playing hurt.
That.
That's why I got
this.
I got this beanie on right now, dude. I'm just trying to get through it.
Make a quick note, circling back to that fascinating Ole Miss Tulane. People assume it's not going to be fascinating because Ole Miss had so much more firepower in their first meeting. But if I'm John Summerall, he's a defensive guy.
Yep.
It would be on my mind to say, if we can take more chances defensively early and cause some mistakes that Ole Miss has not made many of, then all of a sudden that offense, who's to say they don't start looking around at each other and saying, Lane is not here. This does not feel comfortable. I mean, I think I'm not saying that's likely, because I think it usually comes down to who's got the better depth chart. And Ole Miss has been hitting on almost all cylinders, with the exception of that Georgia fourth quarter. But I'm going to watch that. I'd love to see. I think Summerall's going to win games at Florida. We have to wait on every one of these hires, including Kiffin, Duff. We have to wait a couple of years and see what do we really have.
Roman,
Man, first of all, Kiffin doesn't have a few years. I'm telling you right now. LSU is ready to go right now. And LSU has already shown you that they will fire coaches if you do not win in the first 4 years. Like, that's just what it's going to be. And
don't win.
Yeah, and I would also say that I would not only look at just the offense maybe struggling for Ole Miss. I actually think it's going to be the other side. I want to see how the defense does in that Tulane game, because when you're the head coach and all you've done is just call plays and call a defense, you saw it with Auburn. When all of a sudden DJ Durkin became the head coach, the defense slipped.
Exactly.
And it's just a little bit harder when all you've had to do is just call plays. And now I'm the head guy. I got to pay attention to, should I challenge that? Or like everything else is going on. When we call timeout.
About Golding. You're talking about Golding.
Yes, I'm talking about Pete Golding. Yes. And so I think when now you're the head guy, it's just different when you call in plays too. It's hard to manage it all unless you have complete control and give away some pound of powers to it. You see it at Dan Campbell right now with the Detroit Lions, how much harder it's been for him to now take over the play calling duties and still be the head coach. Like they're just misfiring on some things. And so it's hard. It's just really hard. And sometimes, and I don't like comparing college to NFL sometimes, but you guys understand.
We saw Billy Napier in Florida, same kind of situation, and and Summerall addressed that in his presser, and in some ways, I just wanted to ask you, Roman. I feel like Florida won the college coaching carousel, chaos with this hire, John Summerall. I just wanted to, obviously, you give your opinion about him, but one of the things I've heard about him the most is that he is a really great assessment, not of players, but of coaching. That he's good. He's a good coach's coach. He knows good coaching. Would that be something you would agree or disagree, or what was your comment about that?
I would totally agree with you. And the fact that he went and got his guy, the former coordinator at
Brad White.
Kentucky, the defense,
Yeah.
Brad White, who he worked with, like they were co-D coordinators
Uh-huh.
together at Kentucky. And so like that was, and like you got to understand, like all Florida did was just go get a really good football coach without all the drama, right? Like that man, Lane Kiffin made this whole thing into a drama and a soap opera, like nobody else's business. Not only Lane, but Ole Miss did. I mean, that Ole Miss did too, because they were all emotional and mad and saying that Lane should not be able to coach this and he's not going to be able to do that. And you know, I've told people this. I said, look, when the AD, Mr. Carter, got up there and said, well, you know, Lane, you can't coach here. And they were like, well, why not? He's like, well, I got to live here. That means it's about you. When what it should be about is the kids in that room and doing what's best for the young men on this campus. Like, give them the best opportunity to go be successful and do something that you have not done before at this school in 60 plus years. And so if you're cool enough to let the OC and some of the other offensive coaches come back and coach, and you can write it in paper where you can't a non-compete, which we all seen them in all types of businesses, where you can't recruit my guys, you can't do this, that, and the other. I just think it could have been handled so much more maturely and done so much cleaner and better. And ultimately, I've heard a lot of different stories come out now, and everybody wants to throw shade and and piss on Lane on the way out. And like, I get it, I totally get it, but I just think overall, I don't think Ole Miss is in a better position to win it all without Lane now that he's gone than versus if he was still there. That's all I'm saying. And ultimately, do you want to win a championship or you don't? And so I understand, like, oh, he can't coach here. Actually, I don't understand it. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. Actually, I don't. And so I think that should have happened. And but we're going to see. And now Ole Miss has the opportunity to go out there and win a game or two, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to be really fun overall. I just think Lane went to LSU in a whole bunch of drama, and I think he knew the whole time. The moment he didn't say he wasn't coming back was the moment I knew that he was
Yeah.
leaving. He knew for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, dude, how does nobody know? And the fact that Ole Miss didn't at least try and have something in prepared, right? Okay, well, he's leaving. That's fine. Be open and honest, Lane. All right, Pete Golden, your head coach in waiting. Like that it just lands the plane better when you have all these ducks in alignment. And leadership, true leadership, is all about transparency, the ability to be able to communicate one goal, everybody being on the same page. Like those are good leadership qualities. And so when you didn't, like, that just didn't happen at Ole Miss with Lane or the administration. And because of that, it got really, really messy. It got really, really ugly. And by the end, we got girls talking about he's being a creep and hot yoga, and like everybody's just throwing shade everywhere. And it just got really ugly, and it didn't have to be.
Yeah. Frank, we got gold to go today.
Yeah, it's coming up, and
Okay.
we're going to be talking about that upcoming LSU schedule coming up for next year. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. I might take one more victory lap for calling the Lane Kiffin thing 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I'm going to have Roman tell me what all those notes about being a heel like he was talking about with WWE, because let me tell you, we're everybody's villain this year.
You're Darth Vader.
No
now.
doubt
We are
about it.
everybody's villain.
And everybody can't wait to that Ole Miss
Woo!
game. That game
September
in Oxford.
19th.
There's no
Woo!
telling.
September
There's
19th.
no telling. Yeah, it's week 3. We
Hey,
can't
Roman,
wait.
when
Everybody.
Tuberville came back to Oxford in 2000, one of my best friends was his attorney. And so Coach Tuberville gave Barry sideline passes, and he was also on the bus. And I was standing there when Tuberville pulled up and got off. Woo! Man, it was
He
not
almost-
like the reception
almost
the
really
Beatles got
did
when they
end up
came to
in the-
America.
He
Yeah.
almost was in a pine box then, right?
Yeah, and you know what Tuberville did? He took Jason Campbell, like the number one player from Mississippi, the quarterback who was redshirted that year at Auburn. He goes, Jason, I want you to stand on the sideline and throw ropes the whole game just to make these people pissed off. I mean, you couldn't get any better drama, but this one is going to be incredible. Roman, we got to wrap it up. We went a little bit long, but first off, thank you more than you know for sharing your time with us. And Brad Bellamy, Frank, Doug, Brendan, let people know about your foundation. my wife Audrey, we're doing something for kids up here in Parkin that if they ain't getting help, they're not going to have a Christmas. But you do a lot of great work, and you don't like to talk about it. But I want you to let people know how they can support your foundation, because I'm going to send you something today. If you'll just give the address, we'll do it.
Yeah, man. Harper's Hope for One Foundation. You can send it. I'll text you the address. I don't want to give it all out.
Text
But yeah, actually, man, we got a huge Christmas thing we're doing this year as well. We do it every year where we give Christmas to 30, 40, 50 families in back in my hometown in Alabama in Prattville. And we usually try and do something here in Charlotte, but I don't know if we're going to be able to in Charlotte this year, just because my wife and I are so busy and I'm not here. I'm going to be gone and doing some stuff, and I don't want to put all that on her plate. So, but yeah, hopefully I can get all these bikes from Academy. Don't shout Academy out yet. I got to finalize some things with them, but it's been really, really good. And we raise money and we give it all away every year with reading programs, and then also huge Christmas drives. So that's what we're doing. Really looking forward to it. My mom and I've been talking the last couple of weeks. I've been really sick all week, so I'm kind of behind, but I'm gonna try and get it all done by the end of this weekend.
All right, well, Roman, man, we're blessed to have you on here. Looking forward to having it again soon. And you're going to Norman. You got the Tide to win out there. I think they can do it.
I like that Oklahoma struggles to score. That gives you a chance. That's I can't. I know everybody hates the mouse on this show right now. But I can't give away my pick too early. But
Bama big. Bama big.
I like that, guys. We're also going to Texas A&M too.
I think Alabama is dangerous in this playoff.
Brad,
a couple of people.
You have to not turn the ball over. That's the big key. But one other team, guys,
agreed, Brad.
For me this weekend, Harding University Division II semifinals, going up to Kutztown. They got screwed on their schedule. I don't know why they had to go there. Number 2 in the country, Division II. That's where Chambliss was last year, guys. About to win that championship. So go Bison. I got to hop off. Thanks, guys. Roman, great to see you.
I love that.
Thank you, everybody.
Brad, be good, man. I love that. Great stat.
Yeah, that is a cool stat. He was at Division II, and all this stuff matters. Look, Fiz, let me just say this, as we always do at the close of every show. Most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Frank, I'll be glad to help. Stay on here with you in a few minutes. Awesome show, everybody. Roman grinding it out. I know he's sick as a dog. He's going to get better. But for executive producer Brendan Martin, everybody watching, Rumble Boxing, Hewlett Dunn, hipforpros.com, Landers Ford. If you want to be a sponsor, let us know. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.